Emmanuel Hostin, the husband of the View host Sunny Hostin, has been accused of widespread insurance fraud, and Sunny basically admitted to it on camera. Let's talk about it.
Like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance, and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life.
The true sign of the apocalypse is someone that dumb has a law degree. So that makes Sunny Hostin, who thinks climate change caused the solar eclipse, the dumbest of.
There's a moment in every scandal when the carefully constructed image starts to crack. Not all at once, slowly. A headline here, a lawsuit there, and then suddenly everything people thought they knew about someone shifts. This is one of those moments. A prominent television personality, a husband with a medical career built over decades, and a legal case so massive, so far-reaching, that it didn't just make headlines, it detonated them. Nearly 200 defendants, $500 million in alleged fraud. One of the biggest RICO cases New York has ever seen. And right in the middle of it all, a name that millions recognize from daytime television. The story was explosive enough on its own. But what made it go viral wasn't just the allegations. It was the reaction. Two Fox News hosts who had been waiting for exactly this kind of moment, and a media culture that was about to be held up to its own mirror.
You look tantalizing. You know, I make fun of The View a lot, but that's only because they keep talking. Because COVID also taught Sunny Hostin how to get her groceries delivered.
3 years, that's when I discovered Instacart, and I give them a big tip because they don't always pay their people well, and it's so that's been an issue, I think, for the company. But man, you can get toiletries, you can get fire logs.
Fire logs? She had to tell the audience that she tips big because even she knows she sounds insufferable.
Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host Sunny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases.
When the lawsuit dropped, the legal details were staggering. Dr. Emmanuel Hostin, orthopedic surgeon, husband of one of daytime television's most recognizable faces, was named among nearly 200 defendants in a sweeping fraud case. The allegations weren't small. Fake medical claims, illegal payments, a system allegedly designed to bleed insurance companies dry. And the scale of it placed it firmly in the category of cases that define careers, for prosecutors at least. But what made this moment cut deeper wasn't just the charges themselves. It was the timing. Because while the legal machinery was grinding forward, Sunny Hostin was still on national television, confident, composed, and delivering her usual commentary on ethics, fairness, and accountability. The contrast was impossible to ignore, and the internet noticed immediately.
Hit myself in the face so I can feel something. You know, it's like so boring. He's like, yeah, I like Instacart, but don't worry, I tip the poors. But, you know, Joy, you actually don't like Instacart, and you do like the store. And then Joy is like, yeah, I do. I like to go to the store. I like to walk around and see what's at the store, what I do want, what I don't want. Maybe I want tuna fish, and I just want to...
That is when Greg Gutfeld and Kat Timpf walked straight into the story. And they did not walk lightly. Gutfeld looked like someone had just handed him a gift he had not expected, but absolutely planned to unwrap on live television. The jokes came fast. The sarcasm came faster. And underneath all of it was a point he kept circling back to, that the hypocrisy here wasn't subtle. It was structural. For Kat Timpf, the reaction was different but equally pointed. She didn't seem shocked. She seemed almost unsurprised, like someone watching a prediction finally come true. Together, they turned a legal headline into something closer to a cultural autopsy. dissecting not just the scandal itself, but the image that had been carefully built around it for years.
About The View. It's become like a medical hospital that displays human misfailure. Like it's like here, let's look at this political oddity. It's like it really is like the left-wing equivalent of a carnival sideshow, except instead of bearded ladies and fat clowns and two-headed cows. Well, let me rephrase that. But The View is a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. How can you now speak the truth when for years you've been telling lie after lie after lie? Now you're carrying this big bag of rocks around you because it's too harmful for their ego to admit that we really were dishonest. And they could be honest. All they would have to say is, look, we Trump so much. We were willing to lie about Joe Biden because we felt he was preferable. We thought our lying and our cover-up was on your behalf. Just say that. You're still scum, but at least you're honest.
For years, The View has positioned itself as a place where accountability is the currency, where public figures get examined, where hypocrisy gets called out loudly and without apology. That brand didn't build itself overnight. It was constructed episode by episode, speech by speech, moral lecture by moral lecture. But here's the thing about a platform built on calling out others. It becomes a very uncomfortable place to stand the moment scrutiny turns inward. Critics were quick to point out the irony. The show that built its identity around ethical clarity was now connected to a headline that raised serious questions about the people in its orbit. And that contradiction, between the image projected on screen and the reality unfolding in court documents, was exactly the gap that Greg and Kat had no intention of letting close, quietly.
Coven finally shows me some lovin'. Yesterday on The View, yours truly was the subject of conversation. Apparently the broads have no idea who I am, or so they say. Hit it, Gladys.
They said that Gutfeld talks about you all the time.
Who is he? Really, who is he?
I don't watch the show.
He has a show.
I don't watch the
Never
show.
heard of him.
Yeah.
I guess he's just obsessed with me.
Next, Joy's gonna say she's never heard of carbs. Seriously, her denial of knowing me is as believable as her red hair. But obsession? I mean, come on, Joy. Where would you even get that idea? Like Joy Behar's face, it's looking worse and worse by the day. More full of crap than Joy Behar after a night of scotch at Taco Bell. Her being named Joy is like me being named ugly. Joy wasn't there on the show. Apparently Mondays are her days off when she feeds in the pasture. It now smells like a humid day inside Joy Behar.
Greg Gutfeld leaned fully into the absurdity of it all, and he was clearly enjoying every second. The scandal had all the ingredients of something you couldn't script. The scale of the allegations, the timing, the public profile involved. He pushed the comedy further and further, treating the story less like breaking news and more like a live satirical event unfolding in real time. Timpf matched his energy, trading in sharp one-liners that landed harder because they were grounded in something real. This wasn't just mockery for its own sake. Underneath the jokes was a genuine critique about selective outrage, about who gets the benefit of the doubt in media coverage, and about how quickly a moral authority can evaporate when the story gets too close to home.
You ever see such a group? It's amazing how Joy and Whoopi became the smart ones.
For me, the most shocking thing about the conversation was how truly boring it was. They're like, well, the cicadas, they're cicadas. Okay, but it was like every 100 years. No, it's every 17 years. Do you know how many Emmys this show has? 31.
31 Emmys?
This show has 31. I mean, I'd hate to see the conversations that don't make headlines.
And then there is the sheer scale of the numbers. $450 million. That figure doesn't land like a clerical error or a billing dispute. It lands like a statement. Critics said it was the kind of number that transforms a legal case into a cultural moment. The sort of allegation that forces people to stop and reconsider everything they thought they knew about the people involved. Timpf zeroed in on what she described as an obvious double standard. The speed and intensity with which certain stories get covered versus how quietly others get handled, depending on who is at the center of them. Greg Gutfeld put it differently, joking that irony had apparently taken up permanent residence in Manhattan at this point, with a front-row seat to a story that kept writing its own material.
Maker Johnsonville is recalling more than 42,000 pounds of pork sausage for possible contamination with plastic fibers. Fortunately, authorities were able to track all 42,000 pounds to a single location in New York City.
Greg kept pushing the satire further, framing the entire situation as something that had crossed the line from controversy into full-blown spectacle. He joked that the story had picked up enough momentum to sustain itself, that it no longer needed commentary because it was generating its own headlines faster than anyone could keep up with. In his telling, this wasn't a moment that would quietly fade. It was the kind of saga that follows its subjects into every room, every interview, every camera angle. Critics described the show's response as carefully managed, heavy on reassurance, light on direct confrontation with the actual allegations, which, for Greg and Kat, only added more fuel. Because in their view, the way a story gets handled often says as much as the story.
I'm also not surprised that there's one part of the video from the show yesterday that you left out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, can we roll that, please?
I don't watch the show that much, but I've seen it.
Who is that? Who is that?
Greg Gutfeld's one of the hosts of The Five who, if I don't have anything nice to say, I generally don't say anything at all. I would just say that his show should be called Kat Timpf, not Gutfeld, because she's the funny one on it.
Somebody's flirting with little Kat over here.
Well, she's the Republican one at the table, but I just think as a libertarian, I'm always looking to find common ground with other people because nobody really shares my politics. So I find some common ground in the view where she thinks I'm funny and I agree.
Kat Timpf didn't let the moment settle either. She pointed to what she saw as a predictable playbook: pivot away from the hard questions, soften the framing, redirect toward safer ground. She joked that the show could easily rebrand itself around that strategy alone. Greg Gutfeld took the comparison even further, flipping the scenario and asking out loud what the coverage would look like if the roles were reversed. If someone on the other side of the political aisle were even loosely connected to a case this size, he argued, the reaction would be immediate, wall-to-wall, and relentless. That contrast, real or exaggerated, was the core of the critique. Not just about this story, but about the way the media ecosystem decides which scandals deserve a spotlight and which ones get a soft landing.
We'll have to wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say in The View, because without it, she's got nothing up there. She's not very bright. But the problem with her is that she went full racist. She injected skin color into a fairly generic behavior seen in all spouses. Regardless of skin color, people marry, they listen to each other, they have something in common with them, they share their political views. She just didn't want to upset her husband by saying her husband makes her do everything, and then she'd have to accuse him of being a racist. Because if he told her that this is what white women do, then he's a racist.
The story wasn't going anywhere, and that was the point. With Greg Gutfeld and Kat Timpf keeping it in the conversation, amplifying every angle with sharp commentary and sharper jokes, the scandal maintained a life of its own well beyond the initial headlines. Their argument, stripped of the satire, came down to something simple. Accountability shouldn't depend on who you are or what network you're associated with. Standards applied selectively aren't really standards at all. They're just optics. And in a media environment where image management often moves faster than the truth, that distinction matters more than most people are willing to admit. The jokes kept coming, the debates kept growing, and the story, with all its contradictions, ironies, and unanswered questions, kept finding new audiences who were very much still watching,